I don't have to. I don't have to share this. Nope. Nope, I don't. I don't have to do this. Nope. Nope. Not gonna share it. Not gonna share it. Okay, fine. Because I know a lot of people have been asking me to share this story, at least in my old adventuring group. And this was one of the worst mistakes I made as a DM. But because I've been asked so many times, I will finally share the story. No intro, just... This is one of the worst and I guess best disasters I ever made as a DM when I was running for Adventurers League. So here's the background of the story. Adventurers woke up in a labyrinth and heard loud footsteps as they were trying to find their way around these weird twisting halls. The party at the time is only a level 3. And what they realized was that following them was a overpowered Minotaur. And I actually saw the stat block for the Minotaur in 5th edition. And I decided to juice him up a little bit with steroids, just to kind of intimidate the party a little bit. First of all, don't do that. That backfires so badly. I didn't realize that as a DM because the instinct of the party is to try and fight off whatever they can. And sure enough, they wanted to fight the Minotaur. Now, like I said, I jacked this thing up as much as I possibly could. And I thought it would one-hit kill every single one of the party members. Sure enough, I'm not sure what it was, but the party survived and killed the Minotaur in less than 5 rounds of combat. Already off to a great start. So, finding the Minotaur's carcass laying on the ground, they decide to rummage around and just see what they can find. Sure enough, they found a map of the entire labyrinth. Yay! And so they decide that they want to go start heading towards the exit. Until, all of a sudden, as they're walking down, they actually hear the same heavy footsteps that they heard before. And they realize something. The Minotaur had a partner. And they were going to have to fight that too. Looking at the map, the party just started running around and they actually found the chambers of the Minotaur. And they ducked in there real quick while they were planning. Now, one of the party members was a cleric, and he also is another DM who I worked alongside of in Adventurers League, and as well as he's still a good friend of mine, and let's just say those 3 things are so dangerous to have in a one-shot. And so he comes up with a plan to help the rest of the players. He decides to pull out his disguise kit and actually disguise one of the party members up as a Minotaur, not revealing what he's doing yet. I made him roll, and sure enough, he succeeded. And I still don't know what he's planning on. Then he decides to put his hands on 2 of the party members as he's casting a spell, and he says, and whispers to them, without me hearing this, "You're both going to be ring bearers. Just play along." And sure enough, he pulls out, in a magnificent way, a spell that I had never heard of, but is amazing and so overlooked. The spell is called Ceremony, and here's how it works. I will actually read how this works. You perform a special religious ceremony that is infused with magic. When you cast a spell, choose one of the following rites, the target of which must be within 10 feet. And he decides to do wedding, which says this: you touch adult humanoids willing to be bonded together in marriage. For the next 7 days, each target gains a +2 bonus to AC while they are within 30 feet of each other. A creature can benefit from this rite again only if widowed. Now, I didn't really understand what he was doing at the time, But he started to explain to me a little bit of his plan. He wanted to try and trick the Minotaur into thinking this was a wedding and yada, yada, yada. And at the time, I was a really new DM. This was probably my second or third one-shot that I ever run in my entire life. And when I heard this, I just started laughing. It was just so preposterous. And sure enough, I was like, all right, let's see if this actually works. Minotaur steps into the room. They have a very nice like decor set up, and they had like two of the ring bearers. They also had the disguised party member who looks like a Minotaur, as well as the cleric who's the priest in this scenario. I made the Minotaur roll for insight, and sure enough, the bane to all players and DMs, the natural one. He completely failed his insight. So the cleric continues on. The Minotaur still thinks he's doing this whole religious ceremony, even though she was already in a partnership, but didn't even know about her partner dying. I still don't remember how this worked, but it worked. And so the cleric decides to perform the entire ritual and uses the entire Princess Bride bit, the scene where the priest is joining the two people into marriage. He says, "Marriage brings us together," and he did the entire speech. Oh, half of us just were laughing so hard at just him continuing on and on and on with the ceremony. And so after the married couple got married, they decided to use the the Minotaur as a meat shield, and they just cleared the rest of the dungeon no problem at all, and actually got done an hour earlier than I thought they would. And looking at the spell later, I realized that there was a fault on my part because I didn't read the spell correctly. But, one thing I realized was that it made for an amazing story that we still tell. And I mean, this was probably about a year ago, and people are still mentioning the time that I allowed for the Minotaur wedding. And, one thing is that as a DM, I try not to be a huge, rules lawyer. Because sometimes you get these incredible stories just from people's creativity. And I feel like as my job as a DM, when I do DM, I want to reward creativity because I understand what it's like to, especially if it's one of your first times being a player or a DM, you can almost have this intimidation and this fear of going outside of the box, either it being rejection from the DM or also just anybody else kind of laughing at you. I think that D&D is an opportunity for people to explore different possibilities, and also just for people to kind of branch out a bit more. And I feel like, there are times where we kind of look in the rules books and say, no, you can't do this because of this. I mean, sure, we want to try and keep to the rules as much as we can, but we also have to realize that not every single game of D&D is going to look the exact same. And even though we can point to the player's handbook, it's not always going to be the same. And it was one of those moments where I was kind of glad that I didn't actually know the ruling on it, because otherwise, if I had said no, we wouldn't have this story that we still laugh about to this day. So to the group that actually made this story happen, both between my friend who's a cleric as well as my other friend who was the disguised Minotaur, as well as the party members who were just kind of sitting back and laughing and just kind of face palming themselves. Wherever you guys go and whatever you guys do, just tell amazing stories. Just whatever you do next, and whether that be D&D or just telling people the time that we had the Minotaur wedding. I just want to encourage you, keep on going. And everyone else too, you know, don't be afraid to try something creative, even if someone says no so many times. Just keep on trying those creative avenues, and who knows what might actually work, and who knows what stories you'll be able to tell one day. If you'd like to hear more stories, or if you would like to also just keep up to date with my channel, please subscribe below. And also, I would like to hear from you guys. Tell me some of your favorite stories that you had when you were in a tabletop RPG, whether it be Dungeons and Dragons, or if it was Pathfinder or anything, or if you just have a cool story that you might want to contribute. Just please drop it down in the comments below. I'll try and answer as many people as I can. And as always, I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.